Hey, hi, Erwin. Daryl, can you make me host? I think you need to log out, Daryl. You cannot log into your account. Okay. Hi, Erwin. Hi, Michael. Hi, the rest of you who are here. It's a very early 8 o'clock. I mean, the event is supposed to start at 8. Hi. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give like the rest of them some time because I'm starting to see people coming in already. So let's try to just give them a good 5 minutes and then I'm gonna start soon. Okay. As usual, I'm gonna cover a lot of things today, and I'm very, very excited to be doing this with all of you once again on this Easter day. Let me play some music, okay? Hmm. Okay. I think you guys can hear me from the background. Arizona sky, burning in your eyes. You look at me, and babe, I wanna catch you. Today I met one of my clients today, and he was telling me that I look very different in real person. So in a good way though. Hopefully, if I have a chance to meet you guys, I can see you guys in real person. Once I'm like, it's a bit dark. I can't find the words. Every time you say goodbye, baby, it hurts. When the sun goes down and the band won't play, I'll always remember us this way. Lovers in the night, poets try to write. We don't know how to write, but then we try. But you're everywhere I go. That's why I need you on your time. So when I want you to bed, I can't find the word. But every time we say goodbye, it hurts. When the sun goes down and the pen won't play, I always remember us this way. I don't wanna be just someday. Ooh, yeah. So when I'm so tired that I can't find the word, but every time I speak, I'm crying, it hurts. When the sun goes down and the band won't play, I'll always remember us. All right, it's about time we should start. It's 8:04 already. One more. Hello, Jennifer. How are you? Hello, hello. Oh, I didn't know my video is off. Hi, everyone. It's good to see all of you today. It's 1 more minute and we're gonna start. 1 more minute because I'm seeing like people are coming in already. How is your holiday, Jennifer? Oh my God, I do miss you, don't I? So Jennifer, you're on your way to our Property Wow System Masterclass soon, which is happening in July. And we are very excited because I will be there as well to welcome you and your husband. Okay. So for those of you who are just here, hello, my name is Kelly, and I'm sure I'm gonna see a lot of familiar faces today. Okay. So if the music's too loud, just let me know. All right. Okay, give me another 30 seconds and we're gonna start. You probably don't. Cause the sparks in the skies took hold of your eyes while we spoke. Yesterday, drank way too much and stayed up too late. Started to write what I wanna say. Deleted the message, but gotta lie. I wish who you drunk text at midnight. I wish I was the reason you stay up till 3 and you can't fall. All right, let's start. I'm not able to see the screen if you guys message me. So, wait. So, Daryl, is if you are here, can you help me? All right, if there is questions coming in to this, hang on, maybe I can. Hold on. Okay. Oh my God, what happened? All right. Good evening. Okay, I'm gonna use my other laptop to log in so I can see all of the reply. Okay, hi, good evening to everybody. And as usual, very welcome to my newcomers who is seeing me for the first time in Vela Bay. And many of you are familiar faces, and also will be very excited to run through with you Vela Bay, as today we're going to cover a few things. And the very first few things we're going to cover is number one, we're going to cover the location of the Vela Bay itself, the developer's pricing strategy, as well as also 2, 3, and 4 beta analysis. What I also want to be talking about today is whether, what price is potentially safe for you to consider if you're thinking of Vela Bay. And most importantly, what I also want to achieve for us is we are actually clearer about whether this product is really suitable for you as an investor or not. So I'm seeing like quite a few of you here, like Jennifer and the rest. And so to not let you guys wait too long, let me continue. As usual, disclaimer, everything that I'm sharing with you here are based on my analysis. And if there is anything that you are not sure and you want more clarification, feel free to reach out and I'll be happy to help. Throughout this sharing, I will also be popping you guys some questions. And if you have any questions, you can pop in as well because I have my other computer on and that you guys can see me here. And I'll be happy to answer your questions along the way. And I have some partners inside here as well in case you have any thoughts. Okay. So Vela Bay's location is actually at over here. How many of y'all know where is Vela Bay? Do you all know that you're coming here to listen on this project Vela Bay, and do you know where is it? If you know where is it, are you able to type 1 for me? Like you know where's Vela Bay. And if you don't know anything, so I don't know why I'm here, but I want to know about this project. I'm curious. Then can you type 2 for me? If you know about this project and oh, see, this is my daughter. Mama's working, okay? Come. No, Mama is working. Okay, sure. Later. All right. So, am I seeing some answers from here? Oh, you have a very quiet group today. Come on. So, guys, if you know where is Vela Bay, can you type one for me? And if you don't know where is Vela Bay, you're just curious about the project, can you type two for me? All right, got it. Now I'm seeing response. So, most of you know where is Vela Bay, and I'm also very excited to share this project because why? As I studied this project, I found out that it is quite the project of the year. The reason why is because, all of us, when we are buying a project, what we want to do is, yes, Jennifer, what we want to do is we want to ensure that, we buy a place that has future upside. And what do I actually mean by future upside? It actually means that what we want to buy in at, oh no, sorry, my daughter is a bit distracting. Okay. It actually means that when we want to buy in something, we want to see all this. Okay. So when we want to buy in something, we want to have always this thing called the early mover advantage. So early mover advantage means if today I know in the upcoming long run ahead, I'm going to see like our government's going to spend money to redevelop this place, and I'm going to see these empty plots over here that will be further zoned for a condo in future, then I will be expecting that these future prices will start to bring up my price. And at the end of the day, what I do want is also to make sure that we are certain in our entry price so we don't end up overpaying for a project. Okay, and the next thing you want to also be mindful is that number one, if you see that over here, there's actually future residential, park, and medical. So if you're buying a project that is not next to them, but you are near to them, you more than often will stand to benefit from it. And balance-based connectivity is well known to be good. Why? Because you do see here that actually there's upcoming BTO over here. And if you walk further down, there's also MRT. And if you look at here, there's going to be an integrated transport hub here. This is the reason why I'm seeing a lot of buyers and investors getting very curious about this project because it's very hard for us to buy East Coast Park area. And East Coast Park area means that the entry price is going to be very high. And it's either I go into Mayor, which is about 3,005 per square feet, or even higher, or I go into like the resale over there, which you may not have early mover advantage. And I'll touch on that later on. So with this, what I'm seeing here looks very healthy. It means that there's going to be like a lot of a new township, a new transformation here, and a lot of like convenience, whether it's for own stay or whether it's for rental. And what I also want to share is that I noticed that this project, they say is about 70% and above sea facing. So the question I have in my mind that I think you will be having is, if it's sea facing, will I end up to be the one paying at a premium? So whether or not it's premium, I encourage you to stay till the end because in between my entire sharing, I will be telling you whether what is premium price and what is reasonable pricing. So with that, this is the overall site plan that site location that you can see. There are actually a few zonings over here. First, you actually have fantastic sea views down here. And next, you can see that over here at quadrant 5, 4, and 5, you're going to have west sun. And at the same time, you're also going to have high-rise view because there are projects in front of you that will be blocking your view somewhat. And this could potentially be a more affordable unit if that's what you're looking for. And then the back of it is where the quadrant 6 and 7 is. That means that over here you actually have low rise view like the landed view. And that could also mean that, you may not have sea view, but you may have landed view, which is also equally quiet facing. And then on the other side, which is quadrant 8 and 9, you realize there's actually future BTOs. And that also means that if you reference to here, these are the confirmed upcoming BTOs, which later, as usual, Joey will be coming in to share more with you about these BTO sites. And since we know when face here there are upcoming BTOs, we also expect that perhaps there may not be a total unblocked view too. So if you are looking for a good buy here and you are thinking whether can I ask Papa? If you are looking for like a good buy, potentially these two projects could be over here that you can look at. All right. So Vela Space side view is from here you can see that for the fantastic sea view, you can realize that actually it's really very nice. Like you can see unblocked sea and park view here. And I believe there will be a lot of buyers who really want to have this view because it's very rare in Singapore that you can see this. And we also expect that if today you are buying an unblocked sea view, it could potentially mean that you might be buying between 5 to 10% higher than those without view. So investors to be mindful. If you're buying, if you're looking for a good buy and you want to buy with a good potential gain, sometimes when we're buying a view that you doesn't, not totally unblocked view can give you a very good gap from the sea view versus the not unblocked view. So that means that if you're going to expect like probably recently I helped a client for Normanton Park, there's actually unblocked facing and there's also inwards facing and there's also expressway facing. The gap could be 200 PSF difference, and of course in this kind of context, it's a no-brainer that you should buy one that has no view than one with view and with a premium price. We'll touch on that as we go along, all right? So this one is also another image to share with you that this is what we actually mean, the unblocked view facing the low-rise enclave. So here are all the landeds. And here are what you will be seeing over here. So this view is also actually quite nice, and I'm quite certain that developers will be inching up a lot over here on the sea view and over here on the landed view, and maybe these two will be the more good buys if you're looking for a value buy. Those who get BTO very lucky. Jennifer, later Joey will share with you, the BTO very lucky also have a problem because if you are not aware, those who are buying BTO over there, there's a prime housing rule that they have to adhere to, which means that it may not actually be a good buy because their holding period needs to be very long, and there's actually some rules to it as well. Back to Vela Bay, what you see is there's a total of 515 units. Of course, it's a leasehold because it's a new GLS, and we know the government is no longer releasing freehold in the market already. And also there's two blocks of 31 story, which means that from the level 2 all the way to level 31, you can also expect a very big price gap. And this is also one of the ways we can do to spot good buys. So yes, Terence has replied to say that if you are buying a prime housing BTO, what you should expect is your MOP is going to be 10 years plus you need 4 years to construct. Lastly, it's a clawback. That one is one of the most important killer for anyone who is buying a BTO in prime housing, because the clawback is really based on at which point are you selling, and government wants to take back some money. That means that you need to really sell at a higher price in order to load off your unit, and that could be a concern for most people next time. And it's a 515 units with 258 lots. So some of the buyers will be concerned that, hey, if it's 515 units and it's only like maybe 60% of it with lots, will it mean that also next time it might be harder to sell? Actually, the answer is no. The reason why is because this location is so near to MRT. It's just like barely 5 minutes walk. So with this such proximity to MRT, I really don't think a lot of people who are buying here is intending to drive a car. And that's why they also want to adhere to our government's future plan of car light city. So Jennifer, if you really want to buy a property that you have sea view and you don't want to claw back, you want to stay permanently, I believe that a BTO would be beneficial for you. Okay, some of us are buying for retirement, so it's different. So these are the unit mix that you will see. First, the unit mix over here, you can notice that there's a very small weightage on one bedder plus study, only 27 units, and the rest of them are actually evenly spread out between the 2-bedder and the 3-bedder. So the reason why I think the Xinhai is actually doing this is because they're actually going to expect two kinds of buyers for this project. One kind could be the dings, dual income, couples who doesn't want kids, and the other kind would be like a young family with a kid, or there are also upgraders from nearby, or even those couples with young kids whose parents is staying at the landed opposites and they want to buy a condo around the parents. Or I have a few clients who literally staying in District 15 and 14, and they never want to move out of this place. So that's the reason why they want to buy back this area. And if you're a sentimental person, you will understand. If you're used to staying to a place, you also know that stay in a place and I'm so used to this place, I don't want to adapt again. I think this will be a great location that I can see myself staying. But to each his own, because all of us have different needs and expectation. Later on, I'll be sharing with you more about 2 and 3 bedder. What are the things that you should look out for if you're buying for own stay or investment? And of course, Vela Bay also have a small percentage of 4 bedder, which makes up to about 89, 80, 88 88 units of 4 bedder, as well as a small 26 units of 5 bedder, and only 2 penthouses. So we do believe that the penthouse is going to be above 5 million. So this is really for downsizers from landed who doesn't want to hold a landed anymore. And then they probably consider a penthouse. Might as well stay high now. So probably. Okay, so guys, I know I'm going to go on very fast in my webinar because I don't want to hold you guys too long. And I want to also have more time for you to ask me questions along the way. That's why I have left this QR code in the corner. And if you see this QR code, it actually means that if there's any questions or if you would like any form of consultation, any form of booking or show flat, you can scan this QR code and then we can assist you further. At the same time, I'm also very excited to share with you that from a very generous Kelly to you, I am going to reward my most spontaneous clients and webinar attendees and all of you who are with me right here, that I'm going to give you guys like the 1 night MBS stay for my annual draw. And the draw will be happening in this year, September. So it really depends on how many webinars have you attend, and that the more times you attend, the more draws you have to win this 1 night stay in MBS for and the draw will be held in September. So if you want to participate in this lucky draw, the QR code is there for you to scan, and absolutely one webinar, one slot. The more webinars you attend, the more appointments you go with me, the more slots you have for this one MBS stay. Okay, so developers pricing strategy. Now we come to the main content of our webinar. Before I start, do you guys have any questions? Any questions at all? What are some of the things that you are thinking about Vela Bay? Like, do you have any like concern about Vela Bay so far? What would be the things that you will be thinking about? Like, are you concerned about the pricing? Are you concerned about the size is too small? Or are you concerned about, whether will I be buying at the all-time high? What will be the few concerns that you have as a buyer on the ground? Can you share with me? Okay, so my dear friends, I encourage interaction because that if not, I'll keep talking and it's gonna be really boring. So if you have any questions, just pop by. And Jennifer asks entry price and exit strategy. Okay, great. So one of the key things that all buyers are really concerned about is how can I make sure that I go in at a safe entry price? And how can I, chart my own exit strategy? Because this is really very important. I wouldn't want you all to go into something not knowing how you're going to exit. And in this webinar, although I cannot cover everything, I will try as best to explain this part to you. Then you'll see whether is this something that you can use it for your purchase or this development or for future development. And the very first thing that I do want to highly encourage is that whenever we want to buy something, especially a new launch and a harmonized project right now, what we want to see is developers' pricing strategy. Why is developer pricing strategy so important for us? Because can you imagine that today when we buy this one, we don't know how developer profits at which step, which location, which floor level. And eventually when we buy, it's all emotion decision. Can you imagine when you make a purchase through your emotions, only to think that, oh, I feel it's a good buy, then and didn't realize that maybe this is the particular unit that developer loads the most. So if you don't understand developers' pricing strategy, you might end up going to show flat or going to ballot without any clue of what's going on, and end up, whichever agent you're following, they may just tell you, okay, I'll buy this one good, or this is the cheapest. But does it mean the cheapest unit is the best unit? Of course not, because sometimes the cheapest unit may also not make as much as a mid-range unit that has better upside. So let's understand developers' pricing strategy, because I always like to talk about this in all my webinar. And what to understand developers' pricing strategy, the first thing we want to know is what is the unique selling point of Vela Bay? Because of course, you and I know that this is a unique selling point, and this is exactly how developer wants it, ma. So when developer wants this to be their unique selling point, they will also make sure that everything that they do is geared towards their profits. So remember, everything that they do is geared towards their profits. And therefore, if you take a look at this building, this is the site plan. You may notice that just now I shared with you about the quadrants, right? This block actually have sea facing, and also this is stack 13 or 18, where you actually have sea facing, and you can realize that it's a 72% over here and also 52% here as well. So you have this stack and you also have this stack over here. And of course, there's also a stack that is facing pool and partial pool and sea facing. All these three in blue are actually likely to be 72 and 52% sea view, and they are also going to start from level 11 to experience the totally unblocked view. And if you see the red, it also means that stack 5 and stack 18, all these will be actually facing over here. That means that these are actually facing the low rise, which is the landed, and they made up of about 28% of landed facing, which is a pocket view, if you recall. Then you also have low rise view, which is over here. You can see that it's also a 47%. So you're going to have like here, you're going to have like here, and you're going to have like here as well. So what you want to know is that if you're choosing a unit over here, you may actually realize here might be some partial unblocked view. So if me just looking at this, I will be very, very confident to say that these will be the specific blocks that stack that developer will be pricing up. This will be the one, but probably if I will label it, this might be grade A, this might be grade B, and then this could be grade C, and this could be grade D. Okay, in terms of how much you're going to do their loading. But it doesn't mean that, oh, if I see grade A, I don't buy. It doesn't mean this way, because at the end of the day, when we go down to the balloting, we will also be looking at, the price gap between the unloaded one and the loaded one to see whether does it make sense. And next time, if you want to sell, what is the potential selling price, and is this a palatable amount for the buyers next time? So a few considerations. So from what we understand from these many harmonized projects so far, we also realize that developer nowadays adopt a few kind of common strategies. And one of them is per floor jump. Per floor jump is quite standard. It's like literally every project will do this, lah, huh? Which means that it's from the loading lowest floor to the highest floor, especially a 31st floor development. Your level 2 all the way to level 31st could also mean that the gap could be 200 to 300 PSF difference. It could mean that. Later, I'll show you all some more examples. And the other type is a unit type. So in my previous webinar regarding River Modern, what I have observed is that they do also have loading on their larger bedroom type, and their smaller bedroom also have lower PSF. So in the older eras, you will see that, hey, last time, if I buy smaller unit, I will know that my PSF is higher. But now, if I buy a larger unit, I notice that the PSF is higher. It's opposite of what is happening right now, especially for harmonized project. So the question we also want to check out is that on the day of developers price release, what are they going to do when it comes to unit type loading? Could they really be doing the other way around, which is smaller unit, lower PSF, higher unit, higher PSF, larger unit, higher PSF? We don't know for sure, but this is something I want you to be mindful of so that you don't end up buying the wrong type of unit. And the third kind is the premium view. Of course, by now we know that for sure developer will be loading on the premium view. But what if developers loading is so little that it could be only 3%? If it's only 3% gap, of course, I will ask you to go for the premium view. So we need to look at the percentage when you buy for premium facing, and then we do a quick number with you on the day to check if I buy at this price, and if I want to sell at this price, is it acceptable or not? Later on, you will understand how we are able to assess whether it's accessible or not, acceptable or not. And let's look at the first one, which is the per floor jump. For per floor jump, what you notice is that I'm going to take reference with Singhai's project. So Grand Diamond is a Singhai project, but the difference is that it is a non-harmonized project. Nonetheless, per floor jump is applicable for non-harmonized project as well. And take a look at the two-bedder over here. From the first floor to the 18th floor, you notice that actually first floor is 2,145 PSF. And all the way up to their top floor at 18th, you notice there was a big jump of 13%, which means that it's approximately 7.72% per floor jump. So in my opinion, in this context, actually ideally, right, if it's a 0.72% per floor jump, it doesn't mean that I will get my client to buy a low floor. It could also mean that I can get my client to buy a mid floor, probably with a slightly better view. So in this way, right, it also goes to tell that if today I'm buying a per floor jump approach, if the Singhai is doing it again, I will try to see whether if I buy a lower floor, what kind of facing am I? Is it noisy? And is it something that I feel that if I sell next time, the client is able to accept this level of noise? If not, I may even consider going to the mid to high floor, because since the per floor jump is not very high, I might consider a slightly mid top down approach. Now, same thing for their grand diamond on three bedder. From the first floor to the 17th floor, you see it's only 2005 all the way to 2007 as well. So in this context, there's actually a 6.5% overall, and it's a zero point 0.4 per floor jump. So today, if I have a buyer thinking of, hey, I'm buying three bedder and I'm trying to see whether which is more worth it. Should I buy a low floor? Should I buy a high floor? Absolutely, in this kind of numbering, I will start from a top-down approach. So this top-down approach will make me feel very confident because it's so little, it's 0.4 per floor jump only. So what is actually very healthy? Anything at 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 actually is good. Anything actually above 0.5 is slightly towards the higher side. Anything above 0.8, will be really, really very high. So 0.72 is actually mid to high. That's why I mentioned that you start from a mid floor onwards, it's actually still okay. Just don't go too high floor. Okay. Now, next we want to look at how the Singhai do for their facing jump. For facing jump, you can see that actually, right, three-bedder express highway facing and also three-bedder landed facing. We know that Grand Diamond doesn't have sea view, so we can only take reference to highway facing and landed facing. You can notice that at the same month that is happening, one with a highway facing enters at 2,500 PSF. One with a landed facing at the same time when they bought and sold, they sold it at 2,700 PSF. That means that upon their sale, right, we notice that their profit, one is sitting at 4.4% and the other one is sitting at 2.3%. Why is it important that you have to know this? Is because today we are facing the same type of property in Vela Bay. Since we know that it's the same type of property in Vela Bay, there's also landed facing, there's also sea facing, there's also potentially both side high-rise building facing and BTO facing. With this, it can give you some perspective that when it comes to facing, if I want to sell, it doesn't mean that if I buy a nice facing, I can make more money. It means that when I enter at a very big gap, it could also allow me to profit more than what a nice facing could have. So do keep your options open and don't be too fixated about buying the sea facing, because sometimes the sea facing could also reduce your profit if you're entering at the wrong price. Next is also another example is Sora. Sora is a project in this lakeside. So lakeside, I know a lot of people be saying it's so ulu, I don't want to go to that place. But disregard the fact that it's so ulu, you don't like that place. We still need to be very objective when we are looking at how Singhai do their pricing strategy. So if you take a look at Sora, which is Singhai's development as well, the two-bedder HDB facing and the three-bedder landed facing, you can also observe that actually two-bedder HDB facing has made an even more profit than the three-bedder at landed facing. So this is also very important for us to know this, because a lot of us are also thinking, hey, I must buy a three-bedder, I buy a three-bedder, because if I buy a three-bedder, I will have more profit. It doesn't work this way. At the end of the day, if you understand facing jump strategy, you can also be looking at the two and the three-bedder to see which is a better buy at the point of entry. And sometimes, more than often, a smaller unit may surprise you when it comes to profit percentage. And this is the reason why I also want you to be open when you go down to the balloting, not fixated on three-bedder, but rather open up to two-bedder, because later on you will notice that their two-bedder layout is also very efficient. So another case study that I would like to talk about is the unit type jump. So when we look at Singhai's project, we don't really see them adopting this approach yet because so far they don't have harmonized projects for sale for launch, and this is their first one. So as such, we are going to take reference to the recent harmonized development, and one of them being Zion Grand. For Zion Grand, what you will notice is that their one bedder is situated at 3,200 per square feet, and their two bedder compact is 3,213 per square feet, and their four bedder premium is going at 3,003 to 3,004 PSF. So this is exactly what I mean when I talk about unit type, because the larger the unit, the higher the PSF, and the smaller the unit, the lower the PSF. So if you see this happening on the day of your unit selection, don't worry, I'll be there to walk you through this. But if you do see it, you now know, developer is also adopting this unit type jump strategy as well. So so what you are going to expect is, if we're talking about like 3002 to 3003 PSF for this development, you can, this one is a River Modern. This one is Zion Grande, is River Modern. So River Modern recently just launched and sold really, really well. And if you take notice to how they do, they also, as predicted in my webinar, they also adopted a unit type jump approach. So for unit type jump approach, you notice that actually there are two beta. Their price is at 2.2 million, and their PSF is 3,002 to 3,003 per square feet. And then moving forward, you can also notice that for their three bedder, they have a 2.5 to 3.2% difference, which means that this is actually lower than this by about 2.5 to 3.2. So this three bedder is actually selling at 3,003 to 3,004 per square feet. That means that there is a gap of 2.5 to 3.2. But if you take a look at three bedder to four bedder, which is over here, you notice that four bedder does also go up in their price, which is at 3,004 to 3,005 per square feet. And that is about 1 to 1.4% difference. But the most important thing you want to know is, if today you notice that developer also adopt a mix of unit type jump in their launch or their pricing strategy, what you will stand to benefit the most is, if you're buying a two bedder, you can see that the two bedder to four bedder has a whooping difference of 4 to 4.2%. This means that if you're going in for two bedder at 3,002 range PSF, you're going to expect the four bedder PSF to be the ultimate ones to push up your PSF. And that's what we mean by cashing in on your safety net of 200 per square feet. So I believe this is very, very exciting, because if today I'm going to buy a project, which I would be, I would want to see this, because this already give me the first layer of protection if I'm buying a two-bedder. So I hope, as I'm sharing this with you, you are also very excited, because never ever before in previous history has this happened. It only started happening during the harmonized project. And that's why I'll always stress to all my buyers, if today you are given a choice and you really, really want to buy into a project that has good future upside, put your bet into a harmonized project, because I really stand by it. And later on, as I go along, you will begin to understand why I keep talking about this, because this is really a very good window of opportunity for all of you to go through this price correction period right now and enjoy this future growth in future. And helping you make money is, of course, my pleasure. So let's move on to how Seaside Residence, which is the nearby project, in terms of premium facing, has performed. For premium facing, you can observe that Seaside Residence is actually very near to this Vela Bay. Is one MRT stop down, and it's near to the Siglap MRT. Of course, Seaside is not near to MRT per se. You do need to travel out, but nonetheless, it's towards the Siglap side. So for Seaside, the three-bedder landed facing at level 12, Sec 34, was sold at 1,543 PSF. And then also the three-bedder sea facing over here was sold at 1,679 PSF at that time. And what they also observed is that time they actually already have a profit of 67% versus a profit of 60%, because this was how much they actually bought it for during launch. And then moving forward, what you want to notice is that lander facing versus sea facing, actually lander facing made more money than sea facing. So this could also mean that at the point of their entry, they actually get to enter at about a 120 PSF difference, which resulted in them being easier to offload when they sell, henceforth the gain of 67%. And if you move forth to the four better, you can also observe a significant similarity because at the point when they were buying, developer actually sold to them at 1,400 per square feet, and the sea facing also entered at 1,600 PSF. That also means that there's almost a 200 PSF difference at the point of purchase. As such, you can notice that there is already some difference over here for facing. And when they sell, they can also make a profit of 72% as compared to sea facing of 56%. This is actually quite shocking to many of us, including myself, because it doesn't mean that sea facing can make more money. It basically means that this is the unique selling point of this development, and all the more I will be ultra careful when I make the purchase on Vela Bay myself. So does it mean the entire stack cannot buy? The answer is no, don't quote me. It only means that I can exercise more caution about cashing in on my safety nets on how they price it so that I know that when I sell, I can stand to benefit from it, probably at a more attractive price when I sell. And so, in summary, pertaining to developers' pricing strategy, do be mindful that larger units, if they are adopting the unit type strategy, is likely going to have a higher PSF driven by own stay demand. And what we will expect is probably over here, or even over here. And floor premium is slightly from level 11 onwards, which means that anything at 10th floor and below, you may actually get to enter it at an attractive price. And from 11, since sea views are starting to clear, that's also the time that the price jump from level 10 to level 11 could be that particular area that you want to take note of, because it could be level 10 going at 2,700 PSF. And level 11 could go straight up to 2,850 PSF. So there will be a scenario like that, and I want you to be really extra careful and cautious about it. Next, also, the sea facing set should also command a premium, even though, we mentioned about stack, about the level 11 onwards. We are also very sure that 11, 12, all the way to level 31st, they also will be adopting a per floor jump strategy. And that is also one of the way you can cash in and still enjoy sea view at the same time if you're buying for own stay. And we also want to share with you that we know that over here, there's going to be like future BTOs. That means that if you're looking for stack 10, 11, and 12, do know that you're not going to go in with a totally unblocked view permanently. There might be high-rise building to block it off. And this could also cause you to have a harder time to sell if you end up have to buy this at a premium. Whether it's going to be at a premium or not, on the day, then I can tell you, because I really don't know how they're going to price it right now. I can have some guide, some reference, but I'm not a developer, and they will never release this until the very last day. So do see this QR code and scan whenever you're free and participate in this one night stay in MBS, because why not, right? So next question is also, if it's going to go into 3,000 per square feet, is it still safe to buy? I get this question a lot. Like, I'm going to ask you this question, okay? If, for those of you who are here, if today Vela Bay is going to be selling at 3,000 per square feet, do you think it's still safe to buy? If you think it's safe to buy, type 1. If you think, no, I don't think it's safe to buy, type 2. Just make a wild guess. If it's 1, you think it's safe. If it's 2, you think it's, I'm not sure, maybe not. So, okay, I have a 2. What else? Uh-huh. Okay. All right, I have a 1. Anyone else? I'm seeing response. That's great. That's great. So what I would want to share with you is, let's adopt a very different approach towards this situation, because I highly encourage you all to take away your perception about this project, about this price tag right now, and let's take a look at what is happening in this area so far, District 15, okay? Whenever we want to do project analysis, we want to be very objective about it. Because to be frank, if I don't know anything and I tell you 3,000 can buy, that means I'm not doing you guys justice. I'm not doing my homework, and I'm definitely not a good salesperson, not responsible enough to have facts in place before I advise you. And if I tell you 3,000 cannot buy and end up can buy, and other people are making money, then this is also something that I will feel very bad about, because it means that I just anyhow emotionally tell you to buy something which is not good also. So let's take a look at land price. Firstly, we need to acknowledge the fact that there are a lot of bidders for Bayshore. And if you don't know, why, I want to share with you that if you have the time, do know that Bayshore area is one of the highly sought after place because there's going to be a Long Island transformation over there. And although it's going to be a very long-term transformation, there are a lot of things put in place already. And thankfully to our government, they have always been transparent with their transformation and hardly they will change unless big things happen. So with predictability and at the same time, we know that there's also land betterment charge that's imposed on this area. If you don't know about land betterment charge, reach out to me. I'll share with you more offline. That is also one of the reasons why you can notice, oh, there's actually 8 bidders, and these bidders that are coming in, even CDL wants to participate in this plot. So if you see even CDL, Hoi Hub, Xinhai, which is the current developer, and even Simlian is coming in, it goes to tell a lot about the potential of this site. But does it mean that all developers are right? My answer is no. There are developers that bid and want to sell this project because they know that there's going to be high demand here. But when there's a lot of high demand, it also could mean that they could price it very high and end up the consumer, which is the end user, that is you, will end up being the one that is paying the highest. So how do we exercise caution about it? Let me touch on it in a moment. So let's take a look at their PSF per plot ratio. They bidded this plot at 1388 PSF per plot ratio. And although there's plenty of developers wanting to bid because this area is highly sought after, we cannot avoid the fact that their minimum selling price in OCR will be 2007 per square feet. Now, I'm going to have a bit of concern about this because firstly, if it's 2007, we all know that it will not be 2007. Just like Pinery, when it was launched, they say it's going to be 2004 PSF starting from, which happened, but it's only a few units. And later on, the rest of the sales start happening and eventually it went up to 2,700 PSF. So today, developer Xinhai has seen that Pinery has gone up to 2,700 PSF. Today, if you are the developer, Xinhai, would you start selling this at 2,700 PSF? This is a question I want you to think about as I go along. Okay? So before we come forth to the price matrix, we know that the likelihood of developers wanting to sell it at 2007 PSF is low. Because why? We know that developers also want to make money. If Tampines can sell 2007 per square feet, this is my chance to make profit, no? This is what the developer would think. That's why you really need to be very careful when you buy Vela Bay. I will share with you how, yeah? So for Vela Bay, if I take a look around here, there's a total of 21 projects within 1 kilometer around Vela Bay. That means if today I'm considered Vela Bay, the first thing I think about is, will I have a lot of competitors when I sell next time, like Lentor? Fortunately, all these 21 projects within 1 kilometer around Vela Bay are all the boutique projects. You can take a look over here. So since they are boutique projects, the only one that I see that is standing out is Bayshore Park, which is 99 years like Vela Bay, but it's a very old project. It's a 1986 project, which I think in due time is going to en bloc also. So it's a 1,083 unit project, 1982. So really it's not really much of a competitor to us in terms of with Vela Bay. With the rest of them being boutique projects, I'm seeing that they are also not going to be a threat for you. So good job for those of you who are thinking of Vela Bay. This is one point. But as we go along, okay, I also want to see what is a bigger, like if I go further down in terms of the MRT station, where we go down to Sikla, we go down to Katong, we go down to Marine Parade, and so on, I have to also take consideration about these MRT lines because they are the same stretch as mine, and in fact they are closer to town than ever. So with those closer to town projects, how are they performing? Let me touch on that in a moment. And I'm going to take reference to the fact that, okay, again, I know there's only one project with 2023 and only Bayshore is 1,083 units. So knowing that the MRT lines that are further to down, closer to town, how are they actually performing? Let's start from our 2-bedroom analysis. First, let's take a look at Live MB. Live MB is near to Katong Park MRT, which is about 3 stops down from where you will be. For Live MB, what you see is a 2024 TOP project, which is fairly new, and the difference is a smaller project. It's a 298 units as compared to 515. So, but what is really the the point is that it's actually very near to Katong Park MRT. It's only 344 meter, which makes it like 4 minutes walk. So if anyone who's wanting to live near to like Kallang or like nearer to town, definitely this will be the one of the first choice that they will be looking at next time if they want to buy as a resale. And with this, as I take a look at Live MB, the latest transaction for the past 6 months, you will notice that actually there is a one two-bed, one bath unit at 624 square feet, already transacted at 2,755 per square feet with an entry price of 1.7 million. Now, how do we break down this number? What I want us to be mindful is that number one, if it's a 624 square feet and I unharmonize this project because we know that it's not a harmonized project, the actual two-bed, one bath floor space will be 580 square feet. With 580 square feet, this 2755 PSF will now become 2,965 per square feet, amounting to quite a big gap from where it were and where it is now if you unharmonize it. Now, if I take this reference to the future selling price of Vela Bay, which is their two-bed, one bath at 592 square feet, what you want to be mindful or what you want to notice is that their two-bed, one bath is a dumbbell layout. Whereas this one is the moment you enter from the living room, you will expect a nice balcony here, a longish living room, which is beautiful, and also two bedrooms over here, which is the traditional layout. However, I want you to also notice that their bedroom is quite small. That means their bedroom can only put one super single bed and one side table, and that's about it. But as compared to 592 square feet, I'm sure right now you will be zooming in to see. Actually, this can fit two, both of the rooms are quite even in their space. And you can put queen size beds and two side tables if you want to. This happens the same for their master room as well. So for some of us who's thinking of renting out one side, if I want to have some passive income, if you are single, if you're thinking of I want passive income, etc., you can actually choose to rent out this side because you can stay in the master and rent out here and yet still have some privacy for yourself. Okay, well, the difference, what I say, maybe I will discount a bit in terms of the credit for Vela Bay is that the kitchen in Live MB is enclosed. During that time, it's very hard to find an enclosed kitchen, and this is how Live MB has done very well in this aspect. Whereas for Vela's entrance is actually from here. You will actually see the kitchen, net, but no enclosed kitchen. This means that if someone who is looking for a more unique layout, they may notice that they may actually minus point for these kitchenettes because most people don't really like kitchenette these days. And fortunately, you also have a four-seater dining space here and enough space over here for your living. So fortunately, these are actually good selling point of this two-bed, one bath. But let's take a look at the realistic pricing of this. For this one, if you notice, actually, if you unharmonize it, is entry at 1.72 million, 2,009 per square feet. Actually, if I enter Vela Bay at even up to 3,000 to 3,050 PSF, I still think it's still okay. The reason why is because one is a harmonized, a larger floor plate, a more efficient layout, and it's still reasonable because the amount is still very close to what a resale has transacted. So that means what you should expect is if you're buying, if there's buyer who buy in this Live at MB at 1.72 million, which they already bought, they will be selling it at about, let's say about 1.9 million at least. So if they expect to sell at 1.9 million next time, or even up to maybe 1.95 million, and I enter it at let's say 3,000 PSF, and I sell it at also 1.95 million, who would actually stand to benefit from the sale? If today you are a buyer, would you actually choose to buy a resale that's closer to town by 3 stops at 1.95 million for an unharmonized project? Or would you choose to buy the same price for a newer, harmonized project about 3 stops away, but you get a more efficient layout and newer? Would you buy this or would you buy this? Type 1 if you buy the Live and B. Type 2 if you buy the newer project at the same price. Type 1 if you will buy a type 1 if you will buy, all right, so I see 2. What about the rest? If you're considering to buy as a resale, because you need to understand the mindset of your future buyers. The future buyers will be using these two products to compare for sure. And you need to be able to crystal ball yourself 5 years or 4 years down the road when you want to sell, who will stand to benefit? The resale market will benefit or the new launch market will benefit as a first owner. So I see two. And that means today, if you're a buyer in the resale market, 4, 5 years down the road, of course, it makes a lot of logical sense for you to buy the same price but a younger, newer, and harmonized project. So in this way, when I compare the 2 bed 1 bath, I will say that 2 bed 1 bath at 3,000 PSF is a safe buy. Perhaps as I inch into 3,000 per 3,050, 3,001 PSF, the risk increases. And that is the time that I will need to be able to walk you through this on the day of balloting so that you know whether you're buying at the same price or not. That will take reference to the developer pricing strategy to see whether are there any gaps that we can leverage on. So you know that you are not the only guy who buy the most expensive. Okay, so 2 layers of comparison, developer pricing strategy, and also the resale market performance. Next, let's take a look at a 2 bed 2 bath. For seaside residences, there are 2 bed 2 bath that we can take reference with, and seaside residences, as mentioned, is the closest to us. Although it's an 843 units project, it is a 2021 project, which is over there the youngest, closest to us. For the 786 square feet recently transacted within the past 6 months, what I can do is that if I unharmonize it, it will become 731 square feet. At 731 square feet, the average PSF is sitting at 2,005 per square feet. And this is the time that I will begin to be worried. Worried is the word. Or maybe I'm concerned. Earlier, I was mentioning 2 bed 1 bath is good because why? Live at MB has transaction to support it and to protect you. But the second thing is that as I take a look at this resale price in seaside residence, which is so close to me, and I have to also understand that actually seaside residence is an OCR also, right? And it's going at 2005 PSF after I harmonize it. The quantum is 1.83 million. What should I be expecting? Okay, so just hold that because I will consolidate it for you. The second concern I have is that, you know, Amber Park is also 2 MRT stops down. For Amber Park, it's actually a 999 years freehold. And it's also a new project, a newly TOP project in 2023. So since the 2023 TOP project, we also noticed that there's actually 13 resale listings as of now, just updated today. And the 13 listings actually have a mix of 678 square feet to 829 square feet range. But why do I want to be concerned about this is because if you take a look at this Amber Park, which is a 999 years holding, I'm seeing that their transaction for their 678 square feet is going at 1.9 million and their PSF is 2,861 per square feet. Of course, if I unharmonize it, the square feet is 630 and their PSF is 3,300. The next is also the other one, which is 700 square feet being a 2 bed plus study. If I unharmonize it, it will be 651 square feet and PSF is only at 2,900 per square feet. Now, why do I say I'm concerned? Because the quantum itself is something that I noticed is quite low. So when it's very low and it's a 999 years resale property that is only 3 years old, in the future, if I'm going to sell, what will I be expecting is that these people who is buying at this quantum, they will likely be selling at, let's say, a 2.3 million for a 2 bed plus study. And also 2 bed 2 bath selling at, let's say, a 2.1 or maybe this one 2.4. Wait, 2 million. Maybe this one 2.4. Maybe this one probably 2.2 for their 2 bed 2 bath. So since I know in the future as a leasehold project at 999, almost like freehold, it's going to sell their 2 bed plus study at 2.4 million. And their 2 bed 2 bath is going to be selling likely around 2.2 million. When I take a look at the potential price matrix of Vela Bay, their 2 bed 2 bath is also going to be at 2 million. So at 2 million when they enter, what I will be expecting is the same concept. If these people are buying at almost close to 2 million and going to sell at 2.2 million next time, and me going in at also 2 million and has to sell at 2.3 million next time, will there be a situation where buyers will still want to take advantage of a 999 years property and buy in on the safety at a similar price than choosing Vela Bay. You get what I'm trying to say? So that means that today, if there's no Amber Park and I only have Seaside as my comparison, I will still think that it's a good to go project. But when I look at this 999 years project that is going to be selling at almost the same exit price that I want to sell next time, then I will be very, very concerned because I'm very sure that most people will take preference for 999 than a leasehold. So by the time people wouldn't be focusing on harmonized versus unharmonized anymore because the leasehold versus 999 is definitely so much more enticing than a leasehold harmonized. So this is one red flag that I have observed that I now want you to be mindful of if you are looking at a 2-bed 2-bath. Next thing is also if I take a look at Seaside, if I take reference to this, which is the same example I used just now, what I can notice in terms of the floor plan is that, of course, it's also similar. You have bedrooms that are of good size here and bedrooms of the good size here. You also have a proper dining area here and stuff like that. I don't see very much of a concern. The only thing is that, their PSF is at 2,500 per square feet, which is going to be a 500 PSF difference from Seaside to Vela Bay. So on one hand, I have a 999 years competitor, which is going to be selling at the same price when I want to exit. On the other hand, I have a Seaside, which is going at 2,500 per square feet. I am really not too sure whether buyers who are going in to buy Vela Bay, are they going in because of the FOMO right now? Or are they going in because it's a logical decision? So this is my concern right now because when I look at it, I think 2-bed 1-bath, no problem, but 2-bed 2-bath, I'm starting to see a bit of concern. So of course, this is just logically when I look at it, I feel that yes, this is going to be a concern because I need to be mindful of my competitor, which is Amber Park. I also want to know that Seaside Residence hasn't crossed 3,000 per square feet. They are still selling at 2,500 per square feet for an unharmonized project. So the gap is actually quite big. And that's why I may exercise caution. But recently, I hear that Seaside has transaction up to 2,007 per square feet. It's not 2-bed 2-bath. So that's why I need to be very specific when I use 2-bed 2-bath as the comparison. So buyers out there right now, as you're watching my Vela Bay, I highly likely encourage you to be very careful when you go down and select your 2-bed 2-bath because 3,000 per square feet likely is going to happen. And now that you know Amber Park is going to be your competitor, you want to be very, 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 very careful to make sure you're buying at below 3,000 so you don't fall into the trap of hard to exit in future, even if you have sea view. Okay, I hope you guys are learning on this, okay? So in summary, what you will see is that harmonization definitely has benefit the entry quantum for Vela as compared to Leaf at MB, which is newly TOP'd. And despite the PSF being 3,000, it should be acceptable as there are 3 more plots in due time as mentioned earlier in the initial part of my sharing. But the downside is that there are confusion by buyers in future because there's competitor of Amber with 999 holding and that their price is going to be very close to us and their quantum is very attractive if that is the case. And then Seaside gap is also 500 PSF difference and this could really pose as a risk for us during resale. And otherwise, if you cannot offload, just take it as you need to hold longer to wait for it to go up in price before you can make the same amount of gain. And if time is the constraint for you, you don't want to be holding it too long, then I will definitely have to walk you through this personally to assess your risk management, to know which step to buy and when to walk off. Okay, let's take a look at rental yield, something that I just added in today. For rental yield, what you can see is that actually Seaside Residences, they have also 600 to 700 square feet units. And you can notice that their rental recent 6 months has transaction from 4,000 all the way to 4,002. With this, I incur that actually there is an average of $6.30 per square feet with an average rental of 4,001 for Seaside Residences. Then we move on to Amber Park, which is one MRT stop down after C Club. And what Amber is having is that their rental is going at $8 per square feet. Now, when it comes to rental, it really doesn't matter it's freehold, leasehold, or 999 because it matters about the feel of the project. And since Amber Park is 592 units as alike with Vela Bay at 515, I also use this as a good comparison because all the rest of the projects around there are all smaller unit types, smaller project. So Amber Park being a 592 unit is also quite on par with Vela Bay, and they are going at about $8 per square feet. Why must you know this? Because when it comes to rental, the tenants are willing to pay higher rental because the facilities, the facade is much nicer than a smaller project. So that's the reason why you notice, how come Seaside is going at about uh $6.30, because actually Seaside side plan is quite cramped as compared to Amber Park, because it's more open and you have more it's more conducive. It's actually nicer if you have seen Amber Park itself. So then you notice, their rental is going at $8 per square feet, averaging at 5,200. And lastly, if I take a look at Live at MB, it's a 298 unit project. And for whatever reason, actually, there's only one rental listing there for rents, which is good because I have lesser competitor. And the 646 square feet one is the 2-bed 1-bath going at 4,006. And then the 2-bed 2-bath is going at 5,003. Now, in this context, I cannot use the quantum for Live at MB onto our Vela Bay. The reason is because Live at MB is so much closer when it comes to going down to town, and their size, their square feet is actually much higher. So this means that their rental is also higher in terms of the quantum. So if I take average of $8 per square feet upon TOP, what you should expect is if you're going in at 2,900 per square feet at a quantum of 1.7, 1.9, and 1.998, you will notice that the rental amount is approximately this figure, and that will still give you a good 3.31%. And if you go down to 3,000 per square feet, the entry price will be between 1.7 to 2 million, which is the mid-risk zone. You will notice that your rental yield also drops a bit by 3.2 and 3%. Now, why is it important for you to know this? Because this is gross rental. So gross rental also means that you need to minus off a certain percentage, because this is not net rental. So maybe you minus off a percentage of, say, around, maybe you minus off a certain percentage of, say, around like this will become 3% or maybe 2.9%. This will also be around 2.9%. This will be probably around 2.8%, something like that. So if you're expecting rental yield, you should be sitting at about 2.8 to 3% generally. So regardless of whichever PSF you are going in, I think the rental is going to be sitting around there on a very conservative level. So during balloting, if you're very unsure that, I'm buying this for rental yield and I'm really not very sure if this rental amount is something that I can exit with, I can rent out comfortably, you can come up to me and I will advise you on whether you should go ahead or you should walk off. All right. Wait, give me a minute. Okay. I have spoken a lot. Do you guys have any question? I don't know why my video off it. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so do you guys have questions for me? No questions, I shall continue, all right? So next one will be 3-bedder analysis. Do be mindful of the QR code over here. Participate in my lucky draw. I hope you get an MBS one-night stay. And of course, I am more than happy to help you if you need any advice in terms of your unit type selection and safe entry price. For the 3-bedder analysis, let's take a look at same thing Live at MB and Amber Park for now. For Live at MB, you can notice that actually Live at MB is 2024 TOP, right? And their unit type is really built on a larger unit scale. If you see their 3-bedder transaction is all sitting at above 1,000 square feet. This means that for the past 6 months transaction, people over there seems to take a favor for larger floor plate for 3-bedder. So if you are considering whether, I want to go for a 3-bedder, then I highly suggest you to go for a larger floor plate, because I think it's going to be much more easier for you to offload in future, since I believe a lot of buyers out there are living like probably on the landed to come over here. So for Live at MB is averaging at 2,500 per square feet at around 3.1 million transacted, as well as Amber Park averaging around 3,044 PSF, approximately at 3.37 million. So what you want to know is that if you take a look at Seaside also, for Seaside residents, they have actually smaller floor plates, but it still goes on at 1,000 square feet transacted. And you can see that actually if you, based on PSF, is going at 2,300 per square feet at 2.3 million. So today, if I'm going to buy a unit and I know that there are transactions at 2.3 million, and I unharmonize it, what will I be seeing is that a 1,023 square feet will become 951 square feet with an average PSF of 2,004 PSF and 2.37 million. When I look at this number and I take reference to the possible price matrix over here, what you will know is that for a smaller floor plate for a smaller square feet for seaside residences, it's going in at 2,400 per square feet and 2.37 million. So with this can take reference to this because this is the 883 and 893 square feet and 945 to 950 square feet unit. So this one will mean that if I want to buy in, I want to make sure that I can buy in at what has already been transacted to give me a peace of mind that I'm not buying extra or more expensive. Or even if I am, I'll only probably buy at a slightly higher price given that it's harmonized and newer. So with this, when I take a look at this, I noticed that in order to be able to accommodate this size with this price and still be very safe, I will still try not to exceed 3,000 per square feet. I will still try to buy within the 2,700, 2,009 per square feet because this is still a very reasonable difference from what has been transacted. But as I go up towards a 3,000 to 3,001 to even 3,150, if I'm going to buy over here, right, there will be two outcomes that I might be expecting. Number one is for sure seaside residents price will go up because this will push up their price, not the other way around. Or for sure, I will be the one to push up these people who buy at this price. So when this happen, I will then advise my client to consider going in at this or maybe maximum up to here. And if anything more than this, I probably will not go ahead already. But again, it's very dynamic. It depends on the situation and how developer price their stuff. Maybe during the day, we may notice that maybe 10th floor unit could be going at 2,009 and maybe the 20th unit could be going at 3,003. So this could also give you a very good benchmark and this could also set some protection for you when it comes to your purchase. We don't know for sure, but there could be a chance that this can happen. And also, if you are considering the larger floor plate, which I highly encourage, what you will notice is that Live at MB at Amber Park has transacted at 3.1 and 3.37 million for 999. And if I look at this and I actually match up to them, you can notice that it's 1,105 square feet if I actually unharmonize it. So with this, right, what you can notice is that if I want to buy within this range and not at this range, because I know they will be selling higher than me given that they're 999, I will still think that for the larger floor plate, I will still keep within here. And if worse cannot, I will go up to maybe 3,050. So since we also know that developer may actually inch up more on their larger unit type, you want to be very, very mindful that maximum you can go is probably up to here, 3,050 or max out 3,001 per square feet. Okay, so it depends on your risk appetite, but if you feel that you want to go in for long-term holding and you don't really care about it, of course it's up to you. But if you're thinking of buying it as safe buy, I think 3,001 and below should be quite reasonable for you to go in. Let's take a look at their floor plan. Their floor plan is about Amber, Live at MB, and Vela Bay. For Amber, what you can see is 1,109 square feet and 1,031 square feet on harmonized size will amount to a PSF of 3,002. Whereas Live at MB will amount to 2,007 per square feet. And now my question to you is, if the quantum is 3.37 and 2.9, if you're buying between 2.9 to 3.2, do you think it's safe? If you think it's safe, can you type Y for me for a change? If you think it's not safe, can you type X for me? Since we know that Amber being freehold has already transacted in 3.37, since we know that Live at MB is already transacted at 2.9, if I'm going to go in Vela Bay at Live at MB's price and lower than 999 Amber, do you think is safe? If you think it's safe, can you type Y? If you think it's not safe, can you type X? We'll give you some time because I think you need to look for keyboard, right? I don't know why my video is suddenly off. So, hello, are you with me? Or you never see me, you're off already. I cannot see how many people. Are you inside? Oh. Oh, y'all don't know. Okay, y'all don't know, is it? Okay, never mind. So, for Amber itself, right, you can notice the floor plan is actually white frontage. So next time if you're going to sell, this will be your competitor because they're actually white frontage. And for Live and MB, also white frontage. But for Vela Bay, you notice that it's actually narrower. So when people are going to buy from you, the reason why you want to buy on the lower side is because they will take comparison with this kind of layout. One being longish, which is the portrait layout, one being wide frontage and wide frontage. The likelihood of people taking more preference for a wide frontage is usually higher than one who actually goes for a narrower living. So this is also one of the downside of I think Vela based layout could be. But of course, in terms of bedroom size, I would think it's fantastic because all bedrooms are actually evenly spaced. But as compared to Live at MB, their bedroom size is from Do, Re, Mi size. So some people may not actually like because they may feel that I'm compromised on one of the bedroom space. So how about seaside residences with Vela? You can see that for seaside, for their compact, there will be 951 square feet. For 951 square feet, what you will see is the average transaction is 2004 as mentioned earlier. If I were to find a safety net to buy Vela, I would definitely choose to buy something and not too far off from here. That's why I would say that if you're going for the compact three-bedder, do exercise caution and don't go into this kind of range because the gap is too big. Therefore, at 2,900 PSF, I think this could still be a very reasonable amount that you can be looking at. So in summary, the benefits of three-bedder for Vela Bay is layout is more efficient, and there's a good mix of A3 and 1033 square feet for various type of buyer profile. And entry quantum is well spread, depends on what kind of price range are you working on. However, we cannot avoid the fact that Amber is your biggest competitor and Live at MB being the closer to town station might be also your competitor in future. Since the quantum and Live at MB is very sizable at 2.9 million for sale, when it comes to resale, it can actually be a double-edged sword. It can actually mean that they help to push up your price. It can also mean that they will be your competitor. So it depends on the market at that time in future. And lastly, seaside residences, the price gap is really quite big. And that's why I put the word caution over here. Let's quickly take a look at the four-bedder analysis before I hand over this to Joey. For some of you will be wondering, actually, if MB seems so good, how come when I'm doing my research, I see, how come there's no transaction for the past 6 months for their four-bedder? And these are the units for sale. There's 3 units for sale, and they are not moving. And the reason why is also because their quantum is actually at 4.3 to 4.6 million with a very large floor plate that maybe this is really the benchmark that people are able to accept. Maybe they cannot take 4 over million for this one because either the size is too big for them to go into or either the quantum is too deep for them to go into. Whereas into for a 99 years leasehold. Whereas for Amber Park, it's different because people are willing to pay up to 3.72 million for generally as average for their four-bedder. Now, of course, I'm taking reference to the 1302 square feet units, and they are going at averaging at 3.72. But if you take a look at this transaction, you notice that actually, right, the only one that is crossing 4 million is 1,500 square feet unit, and this, although similar size as this is still a 999, and I believe this could be a landed downsizer that is willing to pay this amount because landed being landed, they still prefer to have freehold or 999. So that's why the risk over here increases for people who are buying four-bedder here. Can I apply the same concept for your own purchase? Of course. If you're buying Vela Bay and if you are looking for a four-bedder, their unit type is built on a smaller size. That means that if it's 1173 square feet, it could be today's unharmonized project at 1255 square feet. Still reasonable. And their 1378 square feet could be today's 1475 square feet. Still sizable and not 1500 square feet. And as such, the quantum is 3.72 million for Amber. And I want to tell you that if today I'm going to buy a leasehold, definitely I want to buy at the price that Amber is transacting. Definitely I want to buy at a slightly lower quantum, which means that I might be looking at a maximum of up to 3.1 million and below. So in this context, it makes it very clear because as I go higher into over here, which could happen, my risk level increase and I might find that I'm helping Amber to make money more than helping myself to make money. Okay? So the floor plan comparison will be as such. You can see that Amber itself, Live MB and Vela Bay. There is no home shelter for Amber. Not a big deal, honestly. And also for Live MB, there's a private lift, there's also home shelter and a wide frontage. I must say this is a very nice layout. It's just that the quantum is too big, that's why people are not going in. And for Bella Bay at 1173 square feet, which is nowadays family size are smaller, but the interior space is actually more efficient. I do believe at 3.2 to 3.6 is still a good buy for you to go in. And since there is no private lift and there is also there is no private lift, there is a home shelter. The downside is actually longish layout. This could be one of the minus points for the four bedder in Vela Bay. Okay, so since I've spoken so much about Vela Bay, and I don't know why I can't show you me, unless let me see, let me switch it to myself first. I don't know what's wrong. Wait. Can you see me? Oh, can eh? Cool. I don't know why I can't see myself. Oh, okay. So I'm going to share my screen again to invite all of you. If you have not already signed up for Vela Bay, please scan this QR code and let me walk you through this journey towards Vela Bay. You are invited to our private preview invitation from the 11th to 24th of April, where I will be working personally with you on how do you actually select the right unit type for your current needs. How do you plan your entry and exit, like what Jennifer mentioned? And how do you ensure that you are very sure that now that you buy, you are taking on a very low risk and potentially high return positioning. And of course, all this sharing that I'm going to do with you has to be done in person because absolutely we need to dive deeper into where you are at right now and how can we position you better for a safe entry strategy. So the QR code is over here and the link is over here in the group chat as well. If you feel that this is something that you would like to explore, I highly encourage you to take part in this. And bonus for MBS one night stay for my September lucky draw. And then, of course, for all my clients who know you're going with me for preview, we also would gift you a book that is by our personally written by our boss Kelvin Fong about how do you build assets safe and systematically, and then also to make sure that you are able to apply the things that you have learned, and of course for me to guide you through. All right. So with this, I believe that you should have enough resources. I don't log out first because why I'm going to invite Joey, which is the project team, to come in and share with you more about Vela Bay and also what are the details you cannot overlook if today you are thinking of buying Vela Bay. So Vela Bay, so I'm going to stop share. Okay, can I have Joey to come in? Hi Joey, it's good to see you.
Hello. Sorry, I forgot to unmute
Hi,
myself.
it's okay, it's okay. So great. So Joey, I'm going to hand over to you. Can you share screen?
Okay, can I share screen now? Hang on.
Joey's going to share with us about Vela Bay, the aesthetic, the visuals, and the things that you cannot overlook if you are thinking of buying Vela Bay, things that you cannot miss out. Okay, so I'll hand over to you, Joey.
Okay, first, let me walk you through why Vela Bay's location is actually very interesting. First, you see, this is actually our actual location. It's right along the East Coast stretch, which means you are sitting on one of the most lifestyle-driven corridor because you think about like cycling, think about morning beach walks and cafes and that very windy and laid back kind of coastal vibes, right? Because we are very close to our East Coast area, right? So this is right across. And then which also means that you will enjoy like sea view at the comfort of your living room, right? What makes this location powerful is not just the lifestyle, it's also the connectivity. So we are right next to our Bayshore station, which is the Thomson East Coast Line. So this Bayshore station, right, is right at your doorstep. We have a side gate that when you open up, you will go straight to the escalator that goes down to the control station directly already. So it's super convenient, right? So this line, right, it leads you to like Orchard area, Marina Bay, and even like Shenton Way area, which is a big plus for both own stay and future tenants, right? So it will be easy for you to rent out in future, and also we have like direct access to the Changi area. So later I'll show you on that. So at the same time, we are also very well linked to via the ECP. So driving to the CBD area is about 10 to 15 minutes drive, very convenient for like working professionals. Now let's talk about the transformation. So over this whole stretch area, we have a lot of things coming up. So it's part of a long-term rejuvenation story with new residential plots and also the integrated transport hubs and also our coastal spaces. Right, you'll be looking at a location that is gradually being upgraded, which is where your future value can come from. All right. So another one more thing is that this area here, right, is not in the super dense city core, but it's also like not too far out. So in this, you will get a balance of like city access, very close to city. You have the coastal lifestyle and also the future growth potential. Right. So this combination is super rare in the market. So if you're someone who values lifestyle and also connectivity, this is definitely Vela Bay is a location that is worth paying attention to. Right. So this is our Thomson East Coast line. Right. We have like Bayshore area, this Bayshore MRT, which will be linked towards our Sungai Bedok station. So from the Sungai Bedok station, it will link to the T5 in future. So the T5 will be about 2030. Right. So this would be where we are, our 8 minutes walk to the East Coast Park. We also have direct MRT to Orchard, whereby in future, if let's say you don't feel like driving because it's like you don't want to drive to Orchard, the busy area, right? You can take a direct MRT to the Orchard area. Right. So we are also very near to our Changi Airport. So Changi Airport, let's say you go overseas, you don't need to drive there. You can take a public transport and it's super easy. Right. So this would be our transformation that is coming up in the area. So this will be our new Bayshore precinct, where the whole land is about 60 hectare. So we have waterfront homes coming up in the area, about 10,000 new homes. 7,000 will be HDBs, right? So about 3,000 of them will be private residentials, right? So it will be well-connected neighborhood with vibrant streets and also amenities such as like eateries, supermarkets, and sports halls, medicals as well. All right. So there's a lot of things coming up in this area. Right. So this is something which I want to show you, right? We have like green spaces coming up in this. So this is actually a 3 hectare central park located within the surrounding houses. Vela Bay is over here, right? And then we also have this future linear park, whereby it's at the edge of our Bayshore estate. Most importantly, there will be this future overhead bridge, right, where you can walk directly to East Coast Park. Plus the existing overhead, the underpass is over here lah. So in future there will be this overhead bridge that you can cross over to the East Coast Park directly. So this actually gives you a like environment whereby it promotes healthy lifestyle and healthy living lah. All right. So this is how it looks like. Our Vela Bay is over here, right? So in future we will be having this is the largest Safra, our Bayshore Safra, which will be the largest Safra, about 30,000 square meter, right? So it's about the size of like 4 football fields. So it's super huge. Currently, our Safra Tampines, right? This is actually double the size of Safra Tampines, and it's going to be completed in 2030. So there's a lot of things coming up within the area, within walking distance. So look at this transit priority corridor. It's actually a 400 meters section whereby it's only bus can pass by lah. So that area here, we will have more of like a cycling path, we have footpath, and also like wide, also like a sheltered pipe pavement for you to move around in this area and crossing over to the central park. Right. So over on this side, there's another integrated transport hub coming up, which means that one stop away, we will have like a shopping mall. Right. So this shopping mall is about 22,000 square meter space. So how big is 22,000 square meter? Later I'll show you. Right. So this will be actually the whole master plan whereby we will have future upcoming BTO. So this will be our Bayshore Vista, our Bayshore Palms. This will be our future BTO where they are under the plus scheme, right? And then for the school-wise, we have Temasek Primary School, Temasek Secondary School, and the Temasek JC on this side here. So over here are all the older developments whereby the Costa del Sol is actually the last project that was launched in this area 25 years ago. So for the past 25 years, there's no launches, there's no new launches in the area. All right. For the integrated transport hub, right, which is this portion, this blue land over here, there will be 1,280 private residential. Okay, so most importantly is this commercial space, 22,000 square meter. So we take, for example, Lentor Modern is about 90,000 square feet. So Sengkang Grand, 160,000 square feet is like 3 levels of shopping mall. So Hillian Mall, which is more of like similar to our integrated, which is 224,000 square feet, right? It's about 4 story of about 100 over retail shop, right? So it will be quite a big mall where you can have your daily necessity and also enrichment classes and all this over there. That's one stop away. All right. And then next we also have, because for this Bayshore, right, is TE29. So take a look at this. This is TE32, which is our Changi Terminal 5, which we are 3 stops away to our Terminal 5 in future. Okay, right. So this T5, right, will be ready by mid-2030. For school-wise, within 1 km, we have Temasek Primary School, which is our top 30 schools in Singapore. All right, within the vicinity, we also have the Opera Estate Primary School, the Bedok Green Primary School, and the Fengshan Primary School as well. Right. So over on this, we have the upcoming BTO, right? So these are all the upcoming BTO. I wanted to highlight about this BTO is that it's under the plus scheme. Plus scheme meanings, right, 10 years MOP. So within 10 years, you cannot sell. So when they sell, they also have like tighter resale conditions, and they are not allowed to rent out the whole units, which also means that in future, when you want to rent out your place or you want to sell, you will not have competition from these rentals of the HDBs if you're buying for investment at Vela Bay. All right. So this is Bayshore Palms and Bayshore Vista, which is located over here. In future, this will be our BTOs as well. All right. So Vela Bay, we are actually 515 units, 2 blocks of 31 story. All right, 99 years. Right, this is a government land sales, and this is how it looks like. So it's inspired by nautical lifestyle, like the yacht. You know, it is inspired by that. And then we have very nice and sleek modern design. Right. So imagine when you wake up to this nice sea view. Right. So 78% of the units are actually facing towards the sea, towards the south side. So imagine waking up to this sea view is super nice over there. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Right. The highest level is 31 story lah. So we have like mostly unblocked. 78% of the units are unblocked over there. Okay. So you will see like the facade of the building, we have some ripple patterns. This is to mimic the yacht and also the waters, the ocean and all this. Right. Our entrance, we have a lot of curves. So these curves, right, will have like sense of lightness and, you know, fluidity and all this. So it makes the whole space look like a resort style kind of feel. Right. The swimming pool, right? The unit mix itself, I do not have a lot of artist impression. So these are only the few that is left, that is released out by the developer. All right. So I have like unit mix that's 1 bedroom plus study all the way up to 5 bedroom and 2 penthouses. Right. So only the whole area, right, actually for Costa del Sol, we do not have 1 bedrooms over there. And the 2 bedrooms are quite little over there. So we have quite a number of 2 bedrooms here, good for investments. And this will be how the site plan will look like. So this area facing towards this, you get sea view. So 78% of the units are facing sea view. And then we also have this side gate over here. One, two, and also three side gates. So this is the one that you can walk out to the MRT directly. And then the moment when you open up, you go down the escalator straight away, that's the control station already. So you don't need to walk too far because some of the MRT station, you need to walk like very far underpass before you reach the control station. So this is just right downstairs. And units on this side here will have the acoustic blinds provided by the developer. All right, so these are all the inwards facing, where towards this side, you get to see the landed view. Right, so this is quite a very nicely spaced development. Right, our show flat, we have 2 bedroom premium 2 bedroom premium show flats there, 689 square feet. And then we also have the 3 bedroom premium show flat, right? With the household shelter, WC, and the yard area for bigger family. And also the 5 bedroom with private lift, right? So these are all our show flats. They have different finishes over there. So this is something that you need to come down and have a look. And then, right, we will be opening on the 11th of April, right, Kelly?
Yes. So right, sorry, I was replying to one of the private message from one
Mm,
of you of we all here. So
yeah.
all right. So with this, right, I think what is important is that whether today are you thinking of buying Vela or you're thinking of maybe I want to go down and just see low, but I may not actually be wanting to buy. I just want to find out my options. We are more than welcome to walk you through this as well. I think what we want to achieve for you all who is here with us is that we want to make sure that, you know, at the end of the day, we don't want you to rush to buy. We also want you to have some facts and data that is backed up before you make your decision. Of course, it's easy for me to tell you and say, hey, do your numbers, do your research, and then see which one is good to buy. But I don't see that there's a lot of agents outside who is willing to do this amount of research. And that is the reason why whoever has been with us for many, many years. In fact, those who have buy and is looking for second property, some of you I see are also here as well. So I'm very, very happy to see that all of you are still here right now. And for sure, I believe after today you may have questions also about how to walk around it. Feel free to reach out. And again, we thank you so much for today. If there's anything, you all already have my number. Just reach out to me. And Joey, thank you so much, Joey, for your time today.
Welcome.
Today we have quite a quiet bunch. They don't have much questions for us. Maybe we
Okay.
should do it offline for them right now. So for
Yeah.
those of you, if you are still here, if you are still here, feel free to reach out with any questions. And let's end off our happy Easter evening tonight. Thank you everyone for today. See you in our next one. Next one, tengah, right?
Tengah. Yeah.
Time to be confirmed. Okay. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.